So look, every Wednesday morning, I wake up and there's 10 to 15 content ideas just sitting in my Notion. I didn't even write them. Over the last few months, I've been building this system, NA10, Claude Code, a bunch of other stuff, and now it just runs automatically. It scrapes my competitors on Instagram, finds what's actually working, and generates scripts in my voice. And I'm not saying you need to be technical to do this. Even if you've never touched NA10 before, you're in the right spot, because what used to take me an entire weekend researching, writing, editing now happens despite working a full-time job. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire week. Wednesday, how the ideas get generated. Thursday, how everything gets repurposed for every platform. And Friday, how it all gets scheduled automatically. And if you stick with me until the end, you're going to have the exact system that lets you batch a week of content in just a few hours. So I was that person. I would spend the entire week just generating content like it was my full-time job on top of my full-time job. And I still fell behind. But I knew that I had to get better at it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to spend money on advertising. I would work on the weekends. I would work on the evenings, early mornings, but the math just didn't work out. I would just be spending all my time ideating, writing, editing, scheduling. So I knew that video was the wave. I started doing that for a week, for 2 weeks, and eventually I started building systems. But still, video was a different beast. I never written a script. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And to be honest, I'm still kind of fumble around these hooks. Let me walk you through a typical week looks like now. All right, so this is just one NA10 workflow, and let's zoom in. It's very simple, but a lot happens. So it's just two that I'm using, GPT 5.1 and Opus 4.5. This is kicked off by another sub workflow. So I have a controller, think of it like a remote control, that just triggers multiple workflows. Why do I do that? Just because it's easier to manage. You don't want to have to babysit 5, 10 different workflows. So this workflow, what it does is just grabs today's date. And the reason it does that is because when we query Appify, which is, think of it like a marketplace of scraping bots. Here, I choose my Instagram bot, because I'm not going to figure out how to code, how to scrape Instagram. For me personally, and for a lot of people, just use Appify, and it scrapes Instagram and says, hey, look at today's date and scrape the last 7 days. Because if you open this node here, and you can see here, we scrape 10. We limit 10 results per user. So per Instagram profile, we're taking stories. And here you can see we're putting in the dates. It scrapes the data. And then once it's scraped, it organizes it. So it's just logic here that says, hey, I want you to take all the videos and I want you to choose the outliers. What does that really mean? It just means view velocity. How many views it's gotten based on how many days have passed. Let's say a video got 100,000 views in the last 24 hours, it's worth more than a video that has 100,000 views in the last 7 days, meaning that's an outlier. It's exploding and it's most likely going to get maybe a couple thousand more, maybe even double that by 7 days. And here we're just grabbing templates, but just know that we're grabbing templates for headlines, for scripts, and we're just querying our database, because I keep a collection of all the URLs that we pull on Airtable. And the reason I do that is because you don't want to pull the same videos now here. And by the time it gets to here, we have the top 10 videos. So I just limit it to the top 10 for that given week. And basically we download the videos and we feed it to OpenWhisper to say, hey, here are the top 10 videos, transcribe each one. And it's just looping around, doing all 10. And then basically one by one, it feeds it to AI. And this agent's job, its main purpose is to filter the noise. Out of those 10 videos, let's just say maybe 3 or 4 don't make sense. They're just talking about a tool I don't talk about. It's just talking about a topic that's not relevant. That's what this agent is for. Proving, this is why it has plus improve, because it's saying, hey, okay, now that these ones that are relevant, we're going to stick with them. But at the same time, we're going to find gaps. So what are some gaps that a beginner would have? So if someone is talking about NA10 or something and they might be going too fast, or they're missing something, they're covering a good point, but they don't cover a certain topic, this is what this agent's job is to do, is to find that gap, create a content brief, feed it to this agent. It's Perplexity. And then basically Perplexity does the research on that gap and then preps it. We organize everything, the hook, the gaps the agent found, and then the research that address those gaps. And we feed it to this YouTube script agent, who then generates a script in my voice. And basically when it's all said and done, this whole workflow runs, right? I'd say 5 to 7 scripts land on my content hub, which is right here. And by the time it lands there, all I gotta do is open it and I just view a script. So I'll get something like this. It'll say YouTube script and it'll have everything. And that's it. My job at that point is to just filter out the noise. And now let me take you to a different process that I have. And so once I get those scripts, if you recall earlier, they land in my inbox. Let's say 5 to 7 land, right? On a good day, I just make minor manual tweaks and they're good. Some of them, though, maybe the hook is not good, maybe the topic is bad, and so I paste it in here. And all I gotta do is run this slash command, and it's the script enhancer. This command expects me to paste a script, and that's it. I just paste it, I don't gotta explain anything, and it gets to work. It kicks off, the agent reads it, and it says, okay, here's basically the gaps. It's giving me a hook rating, and then this script, I have a script generator process, and it does the same thing. I just dump it, my 2 cents, my POV, and I generate a new script from scratch. And then so this, let's just assume this is the final script. I like it. I'm not going to make any more edits. I would copy this entire script like this, copy it, and then go back to Notion, my content hub. I just copy and paste it there. And then now I'm done the ideation phase and the content generation phase, mainly just for my scripts. All right, so I added the script. Now the final step here is just change the status to context ready. And what that does, it triggers this workflow. I call it my content repurposing workflow. It says content generation, but it's really content repurposing. And what happens here is it gets triggered by Notion by this right here. It'll check the trigger and be like, oh, the status is context ready. It says outline, but it's really the script. And then it checks this switch, which it says, okay, what are we going to repurpose it in? And while that sounds good, not every single idea is meant to go on every platform, in my opinion. So this is how you control it. You go to this platform tab and you just select the platforms you want. Maybe you want to post it on YouTube and Instagram only. And that's what this switch does. It kicks off the right agents. So then if you're going to post it on all 5, hypothetically, what's going to happen is all these are going to get triggered, which as you can see here, you see YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. This agent is smart though. It understands that Instagram isn't ticked. It won't generate Instagram assets. So basically this whole process is very dynamic. And basically what's happening here is the system is trying to be smart, or it's actually querying templates. So there's hooks, there's body templates for the tweets, and depending on the topics, so depending on the type of thing, so maybe it's a quick tip, a hack, it's a tutorial, it's a live build. So depending on the type of post, the system is also dynamic and working. And so by the time it goes to each agent, they're both getting the right templates for a hook and for a body template. And once it's all said and done, it just changes the status back to draft generated, and then it drops all the assets in here, just like this: X post, LinkedIn post, everything. So at this point, to recap, we've generated an idea, we turned that idea to a script, and we just repurposed it by changing the status to context ready. The main purpose or the main job at this point, at this stage, would be to review the post. Does the hook make sense? Any errors? Because AI isn't perfect. And so then you will make those edits. And then once you're ready, you would hit ready to publish. And when you do that, that triggers another workflow. It does run autonomously. The problem is it's a little buggy, mainly because of the limitations. It pulls every minute. If you're just scheduling a one-off or maybe 1 or 2 posts, it's not a problem. You can just schedule it to ready to publish, and then this workflow is going to do its magic. However, I'm a little impatient, so I want to do it automatically or as quickly as possible, because I usually batch record, batch edit, and batch schedule. And so to do that quickly, the main way I found is to open this workflow, change the status, have this tab open, and then just click execute. It'll run, pick up the status change, and then basically schedule it. I usually repeat this process until all my posts are done. And this is just for shorts, by the way. My long form, I usually do that more manually. And the other thing I want to mention is the date column. This is important because you want to post it at the right time and then the right date, right? And so this gives you control. You can do this all via Notion. So because think about it, you have to manually upload it to TikTok, manually upload it to Instagram. It takes time. It can take you up to 10 minutes. It's just very, it's mentally draining. So you just go to your hub and everything is done here. And so I believe the way I have it set up here in this workflow is, if you follow it along, it's straightforward. It just looks at the status like the other workflows. And if it does pass a status, then it just grabs all the data from that page, uploads the video. So if you're adding a video, it's going to take that video and it's going to post it on the right platforms. So depending on the platforms you have ticked, it'll post it to the right platforms. Because if you look at here, you have the posts, but you also have the caption for TikTok. You have Instagram captions, which is just the description. You have headlines, descriptions. So it'll take all that. And then once all these run, it just changes the status to scheduled. And that's pretty much the entire scheduling process in a nutshell. So that was the short form engine that takes literally one idea, amplifies it by 5 or by 3 or by 2, just depending on where you're going to post it and how you want to post it. But that's mainly for taking a script for a short form and then repurposing it to all 5 platforms. And for long form is a little bit different. That's more involved. So it has the same control process, except I'm not scheduling via Blotato. I'm doing that manually. So I'm manually uploading the video, adding the thumbnail, and doing all that. But I will say that the topics are like, instead of the idea engine, I just do a bulk research because it's more intended. You may have some keyword research. I use Claude Code to brainstorm angles. Cool tip is export this from vidIQ or your keyword research or your research that you're doing from your tool, and then drop it and ask Claude to help you analyze that data and find keyword opportunities for whatever you're trying to do, whether it's a business, whether it's more reach. I brainstorm and I generate my calendar for Q1, for example, meaning the next 3 months. That way I don't have to do research every time. I just run a / command like you've seen before, where I just dump all that in a specific folder and I just say, hey, Claude, run it. And it'll just look in that folder and it'll just start giving me ideas. And then whatever makes sense, I just go back to my content hub, I add it, and that's it. So depending on the topic and just from ideation, meaning even if I have the idea generated, I generate a script. And how I generate a script for long form is, let me actually show you. I go to start a new command. My process is a little bit unique. If I'm going to jot a video, I want to just compare myself out there to other people. What have they done? And kind of like the skyscraper method, but a little bit different. I'm not trying to make it longer. I'm not even trying to copy. I'm just sometimes I have the angle and I just know what I want to write about or talk about, but I still want to see what other people are doing. So I go to my context folder. I look at inputs, and here I just drop transcripts. And so when I run this command, I just type in my target keyword or my topic and just press enter. What Claude Code is going to do is going to spawn multiple agents. Each one is going to analyze the transcript. So if I drop transcripts from competitors, they're all going to analyze the transcript, recoup, get back together, and then analyze all that information and be like, okay, these are the gaps, these are the opportunities that you can chime in, and then take in my context for that video, whether it's point of view and essentially they're just going to generate my script for me with the hook and kind of like the outline. About it, taking my context, my script is generated, it's dropped in the output folder right here in the scripts. I just open it, review it. If I like the hook, I go with it. If not, I make tweaks. But the editing is what used to kill me, because that used to take me such a long time, up to 3 hours for long form video. And how I've solved it is again with another / command, and it's my video. And this one is pretty slick. I'm not going to show it because it takes long to run. But what it does is, let's say I had a 3-minute video for a short form video, right? I recorded for 3 minutes. I did double takes. I had I made mistakes. And so what that does is it removes all the fluff. And what I do is I drop it in my video folder in the raw. The system will kick in and it will just start editing the videos. And if you're thinking about doing this, here's some tips. If you have a good transcription service, then you're pretty much golden. I was using, I think, Open Whisper, and it was a free one, and it wasn't working. I used Assembly AI, and I think it works great for this workflow. And what happens is, the first step is transcribe the video. It'll transcribe the video, and then if it's going to be long, so what it does, it breaks it into chunks, because you're going to run out in a context issue. But really, what the process is transcribe, and then edit. So one agent reviews the entire transcript, reads it, and then clearly sees like the errors. And so by the time I get the video, it's pretty much, I'd say 70 to 80% there. So it used to take me 15 to 20 minutes just to edit a 30 to 60 second video. Now it takes me 5 minutes, like consistently for most videos. And that's mainly because I'm adding captions. For long form, it used to take me hours. Now it takes me 30 minutes. I have many systems that help me now to generate content. I get 7 ideas. And basically, on a good week, I could literally have all my content scripted. That's it. A few hours a week. That's what it takes to run my content system, from idea to generating my first script or a few scripts to then repurposing them on LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Instagram, all the 5 platforms. It's a lot of steps, and it does seem like it's very time consuming, and it still is. It takes me a few hours a week, but it definitely leaves me opportunity to do more things. I'm not just consumed by this, and this is me working a full-time job. Before this, I would spend my entire week just creating content. I was fun, but still, it's a drag to just having to be consumed by just creating, editing, and just doing it every week over week. Hopefully this system inspires you to build your own. Matter of fact, what I would do is I would take this video, transcribe it with a free YouTube transcriber, feed it to Claude Code, and ask it to help you build a similar system. This system that I just covered is my Content OS, and it's something that I'm going to be launching later this year. So if you're definitely welcome to build it on your own, but if you are interested and using something like this, be sure to subscribe. Plus, I also give away prompts, so you get that freebie, but you can also add yourself to that wait list. Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.